Hi guys, today I have another invention to share with you, and like my indirect box, this is very simple and easy to build if you have some basic soldering skills. It is a direct box, but a very different kind. With a direct box, its role is to convert your high impedance instrument signal to low impedance to connect to a mic preamp. And it does this in a way that is as transparent as possible. In order to do that, it has to use a ratio of 1 to 10. Let me explain that to you just real briefly. Modern day passive DI box has a transformer in it that goes from 140K to 150 ohms. The 140K is roughly 10 times greater than the output impedance of an instrument, electric bass, electric guitar, electric keyboards. The 150 ohms is roughly the same as the output impedance of a microphone. Mics usually are in the range of 200 ohms or less. And the idea is that you will then connect this to a mic preamp, which has an input impedance of 1.4K, which is roughly 10 times greater than the output of the DI box. It is this idea of a 1 to 10 ratio that gives us our modern high fidelity sound with all of our gear connected. In the old days, things were different though. It was a ratio of 1 to 1. The 1 to 1 ratio gives you the optimal signal transfer, so the loudest. And that's still done with guitars and their amp head. If you have like an 8 ohm output, you're going to connect that to an 8 ohm speaker, and that will give you the loudest sound possible, but not necessarily the most hi-fi sound. And well, with guitar amps, you're not really looking for a hi-fi sound anyway. Now, in the old days of the recording studio world, studio equipment all had 600 ohm connections. Output impedance was 600 ohms, input impedance was 600 ohms. If it was a mic preamp, the input impedance of a mic preamp would have been 200 ohms or 150 to connect directly to a microphone with a 1 to 1 ratio. It was that idea back then to have the most signal transfer, which was adopted actually from the telephone industry. They were trying to run very long cable runs with very low losses, and that's how they did it. In the modern world, we're not going super long distances, so we go with a 1 to 10 ratio. There's some loss in volume here, but you gain a more high fidelity sound. I'm thinking about this thing that I call the thicker injection box versus the direct injection box. It has an input impedance of 17K and an output impedance of 1.4K. So 17K is roughly the same as the output impedance of an instrument, giving us a 1 to 1 ratio. And the 1.4 is the same as the input impedance of a mic preamp. Once again, 1 to 1 ratio. So this, yes, it gives us the most efficient transfer of energy, but also a bit of a colored sound too, which I think is actually a nice tool to have. It's good to have a regular DI box laying around, especially if you're looking for a very, very precise, accurate sound. But a lot of times, I know for a fact in the recording studio, I'm always looking for new sounds and different tones, thicker things, sometimes vintage or retro sounds. This idea is going to do that at the DI level, so your direct recorded sounds would have a more vintage character to them. Now this is just theoretical, but next week I'll actually build it, we'll put it to use and see how it compares to a regular DI box. I believe that you'll find this to be true. So this particular transformer just so happens to exist. It is a mic preamp input transformer wired backwards. It's that simple. So if you want to try to build this to yourself, not too hard to do. I'm going to put one together next week. I have one of these transformers laying around, and we'll see what it sounds like in action. Check back next week. Bye.